I am back home again on this glorious day. It is like upper 70s out there. The wind is blowing. Got the window open a little bit just to get that fresh air in here. The breeze feels marvelous. We are obviously up in the train room where I've got virtual rail fan going on the TV. I love that addition. And actually got the end scale going. I don't know if that's going to be a permanent home. I don't like the fact that it's in front of my lights, but it works up there. But yeah, we'll see. We'll figure that out. But anyways, we are going to finally start working on the layout again. We are going to start with the ballasting between the lift out bridge and Industrial Avenue. I'm gonna get that taken care of, and we'll see where we go from there. And actually, yeah, just for context, because I don't know if I actually had it in a video or if I just posted a short. I can't remember for sure, but this is the layout from the semi, and that is the TV that I had in the bunk. I have basically retired from the road and being gone and touring and that sort of stuff, so this has made its way in here now. I just temporarily put it up here, and I think overall it works, but it does block a couple of the lights back there, so not too sure if I like this being up here because of that, but I mean, it does work. I have to measure. I might be able to go and put it here, but then I'm still going to end up blocking some of the lights, so I'm not too sure. And then, of course, there's the TV that I had in the bunk for my entertainment with the sound bar behind it. And got that up on the wall so I can watch, obviously, train videos. Watch Boomer Diorama, Kansas and Western, New England, Industrial, everybody can see on top of that. So, yeah, that's the newest additions to the room. Let's get to doing some work. Well, it is ballast time, and I want to get this section, at least this ballasting done, and then I can slowly work on doing the rest. Obviously, through the main line, I will be using my medium gray blend that I've been using all along for the two main lines. On the sidings, I want to do a little different, so I've got this medium dark ballast, and I believe this is the stuff that, no, didn't use anything on the end scale. Where did I use this? I guess it would be back there then. So, I actually bought another bag of this, but it's all right. I'm going to probably mix in a little bit of this Fine Cinders black, just make it a little darker. Or I might just leave that the way it is and then mix some coarse ore, iron ore, and fine cinders, and mix those together and put either one. I'm not sure which one, but there will be different ballasts for the industrial siding. So let me go ahead and start doing that. So I laid the rear track last night. I really don't necessarily like that brown. I've used it on the other side, and I really didn't like it. I don't know why I used it there, but I did. It's not a big deal. And then I laid the main track, the main line track last night, and I got rushed at the end, and it kind of went to Hades in a purse. Things got blown all over the place, and glue wasn't working right, so it's a lot messier than what I really wanted, but it is what it is. This line here I just did with actually fine ballast, light gray, and the main line was done in medium gray blend, so it's a little different. I'm not sure what I used over there, but whatever. I did notice that I tested out this morning, and I did notice that I ballasted between both rails, which is what I wanted here. But when I put the bridge up, I haven't ballasted between the rails there. So kind of has a line of all of a sudden into grass. So I need to do a little bit more reballasting around the track. There's a couple of bare spots. So at some point I'll bring the bridge up here and match up which one I used, because this seems a little lighter than what's on there. Match it up, and then I will kind of blend in grass and ballast and just kind of blend it, because through here I do want the ballast between the tracks. So right now I'm going to take some of this little turf here, and I'm going to go in between those two tracks and maybe up to the wall there, kind of staying away from the building over here. You can kind of see where this line is. I might go ahead and just fill this area in. Also, you'll notice that I made a berm here with the ballast. I didn't want to have just a runoff, and I don't want every bumper to seem the same, so this one here just used some extra ballast. This one here is going to go inside the building. Building's going to butt right up to here. You're not going to see it. It will come to there. All this will be inside the building, so not too worried about that part. But I'm going to ballast back, or put the grass back here, probably up in this corner, and I might bring it out here. Might do in between. I know that's not necessarily what people do. I don't know if anybody ballasts and lays the grass at the same time, but I'm fixing to try it out and see how it works. I'm feeling a little frisky. So also, the whole reason I decided to make this clip was because I wanted to tell you what I'm using. Basically, it's the same stuff that I've been using over there. I just used some blended tough earth blend from Hobby Lobby. That's a nice kind of a burnt or dry grass color. A little green grass, fine turf, and blended turf green blend. Just a hint of that, just to bring it up a little bit. I don't want this to be too green through here, because industrial, it's going to be half dead. They're going to wait until it's about 20 foot tall and then mow it right down and kill it all, and you know how that goes. So through there, it's going to be a little bit more brown. Out here around that area, over there maybe even, through there, it's going to be a little bit more of the green, because that would be a little bit more kept up from the businesses. So yeah, and I will stick down some of this coarse turf. I haven't mixed that into this. It's just something I'm going to just kind of all over it. So tell me what I did wrong. I'll tell you what I did wrong. I tried to do some grass while I was ballasting. Although it looks okay, I kind of messed up. I really need to just still take my time. Got this ballast down, and then I went and put the grass down, and I didn't think about what the process was of putting the grass down. I forgot that I typically, and I think everybody does this, slathers on some white glue or Mod Podge or something onto the layout, so that way it gives the grass something to initially stick to. Oh, hey, there goes Norfolk Southern. And therefore, yeah, I don't know how well it's going to work. I really don't. Especially around the lift up bridge, now that I'm thinking about it, because that's going to have some, movement with the bridge going in and out. But trial and error, I guess we'll say. There's a few light spots there. That's because when I took the rubbing alcohol, and I don't know if you can kind of see that, I stand way back here and shoot it and get it down, because otherwise that's too harsh of a spray, and it ended up still kind of making little spots in the grass. So I just took some leftover mix that I had and just kind of sprinkled it on top, because it's not like it's going to be any worse. You know what I mean? There's at least glue that it'll still attach to. So we'll see how it works. I'll let this dry. I'll come back tonight or tomorrow. And then at some point I'll just take the vacuum over it, see what gets sucked up, and then, from there I can, put down static grass or something. This is just a base anyways, just to give some color. But I tell you what though, I mean, even with my screw up, it is nice to see some color and definition coming through. I definitely do like that. I'm going to stick some grass in through here, like I said, like I've done over here. Little tufts here and there. But I'm going to do that at a later point, probably using static grass in the pinch and stab method. And then I've still got to weather the ballast and track and that sort of stuff. So inside, but yeah, that's making me happy so far. And there's still a train going by. So I decided to change this up. I think the tile grout worked very well for the intended purpose. I didn't necessarily like the color. It looked too beach sandy for being the side of the road type of dirt. So in looking around at the store, I found some different colored ballasts that I ended up picking up and not using a single one for this intended job. Actually, I don't think I actually picked any up for this job. This was kind of a secondary afterthought. I actually picked up from Amazon when I started this some fine ballast in gray, and I thought that was too, I didn't like the fine, which I'm actually messed up. This here is fine on the siding and this is medium, and it turns out I actually used fine on the first section of layout, a year or two ago. So where it comes to the main lines where it matches up on section 2 to 4, it actually doesn't match, and I figured out why it wasn't sitting right with me. So I screwed up on that. It's not a big deal. It's workable, but yeah, I should have used fine on the main line, but I ended up buying some medium ballast and doing that. But like I said, this was just too beach sandy. It works great if you got a beach or if you got like a lake where you want some sand. The tile grout that I got, it would work perfect for that. It also works perfect on the top of industrial buildings as the aggregate roofs. But the color just didn't do it for me. It's been sitting on, sitting with me for a little while. So I was going to, where is it? I was thinking about using this coarse iron ore ballast. It's a little too red. If this were, in Georgia, that might have worked fine. But I didn't really like it. I thought there was another one. I was thinking about using this talus, this fine brown, because it's a little bit more rocky. And it would have worked. It was close to this color where it would have been, all right, that works. But it still wasn't exactly what I was looking for. So didn't go with that. I thought about using this brown fine ballast, and again, that would have worked, but that's a little bit more like a dirt lot. I wanted something that looks like it's a municipal, easement where they put, the rock and aggregate down. And so that's why I settled on the fine ballast in gray. Now what I'm going to do is the red building that sits here on the back side, if I slide this down this way, I'll just hold on to it. I've also, that's another thing I got to bring up. I've put up a little bit of a hump, just because I wanted a little bit of elevation difference. So I think I've already mentioned that I had cut up a couple of pieces of the pink styrofoam or pink insulation foam boards. And I just did that, so that should be pretty much dry. That can be taken care of. I got to paint it in this brown first, and then I can Scenic it. But the red building is going to go here. It comes up to about this line here, I believe, in its footprint. And I wanted just kind of a dirt parking lot back here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this brown, because that is perfect dirt parking lot brown. And I'm going to come along the front here and then make a little square back here with the parking lot. I'm also thinking while I'm here, I'm also thinking of maybe moving the train station there. I really like that building, but it was just wasn't doing it for me where it was sitting over there. I do have the Walders train station. I was going to stick over on, the other side of this track here, right up here. And I don't know. Maybe I'll build it and see what I think. Maybe I'll put it back here because the train station was going to fit better there for the cars. But I think overall that building might fit better there. So I don't know, because then that screws up with my farm. Could move the farm over to that side where I don't really have anything planned yet. But I also like the silos being there because that track will eventually go through the wall, as I've said. And it kind of breaks up the rest of the world goes out type deal. I don't know. There's still a lot of thought. I thought I was done that stage, but apparently I'm not. So, all right. So, more is done. The plaster dried enough for me to say, you know what, paint will sit on it. So I went and painted that. And if anybody is wondering, the paint that I've used is it's just the cheapest can of paint that I could find at Home Depot. And the color is Earth Fired Red. Now, it's kind of weird, and I can't remember if I've talked about this on any of the videos originally. This section 2 and 3 were done with one can. 4 and that little bit there, and subsequently anything after, including the track, where it was ripped up and then repainted. 2 different cans, same color, same paint chip. Even the numbers, I believe, were the same. I've still got the old can. I'd have to check it, but the different colors, the code was the same, but it was 2 different colors. And like I said, you can see one's a deeper brown and a red, right? Same here. That little triangle there was done with the second can. That was done with the second can, and this is done with the second can. So, and again, you can see where it's already drying. It's getting darker. So, it's weird. It's still in the same tone, so it's not a big deal. And maybe this was just a thinner paint or something, and if I would have done a second coat or something, maybe it would have gone. I don't know. I'm not a paint expert, but it still works. It's a good underlayment color because where it's thin, and I can see spots in here. I'm not going to point them out, but I can see where it is thinner, and you don't really. It's not very noticeable. I mean, if you're looking right at it. Same with section 1 here. Come over here. Over time, it's gotten thin, especially up here in front. There's a little spot there. And then up along the line here. It just gets thin. And if anything, it makes it look more natural, because if you go out into nature and you look, grass isn't 100% coverage. There's always little pockets of where it gets muddy, and the seed and grass just washes away. So there is some variances. So this is a color I really like. It's worked out pretty well for me over the few years. So of course, I think I've already talked about getting the roadside done in more of a stone color, and I've gone ahead and, just because I wanted to see what it looked like, put the building there, and then I was like, you know what, I can probably put some grass down here, because the road it's going to be somewhere in here. It's not going to be a very wide road. There's plenty of room to put that in still, so I wanted to kind of get this done. Now this section, I just used fine turf, green grass, just straight up, no mixing, no nothing. This here was a blend of, still got some left. It's a blend of the green grass and green blend turf there, and burnt grass, and it's a whole mix. But this here, I wanted more of a manicured, taken care of, managed grass by whoever owns the property of the building. So I'll need to put down like a little bit of bushes or something along the sidewalk, because the building does have a little bit of a flex to it. The ends are up compared to the center. You can really see her here on the side. So I'll put some brush or something along the edge there. But again, this is all nicely mowed and that sort of stuff. Over here, I'll kind of have it mixed in and start getting more to this, because the road is going to be unkempt and, garbage all over the place and not maintained. So But yeah, that'll be a nice little contrast once it gets to that point. So overall, I'm happy. This, as I said, I did it wrong. I didn't lay down any sort of Mod Podge or anything, but it did seem to work out pretty well. It is all hard to the touch, including my little mound of ballast there to stop. I've still got to do all up in here, but I got to get the building built before I can really take care of that and see where the dock lays and everything like that. This is good here because the building comes up to right about where that little edge is there. So back here is pretty much done, aside from putting some brush down and some static grass through the area. The base of the Scenic is done there, and I am liking the way it is starting to really look. So, oh, just missed a train. Dang it. Looking in Rochelle. Anyways, yeah, that's looking pretty good to me. Alright, so that is going to pretty much wrap up this video. I am really happy with the way it's turning out. I kind of feel like I was starting to rush it because I wanted to get it done, and it just wasn't turning out the way that I wanted it to. But sometimes you just got to trust the process and just kind of flow with it. And one thing that I try to keep in mind is what Boomer always says is that, you know, you can only, I mean, basically paraphrasing it, is you can only do what you're doing. And if something messes up, maybe it works out. And if it doesn't, then you just got to fix it. It's not like it's going to be the end of the world. You know, as I screwed up on gluing the grass down, it still worked out in the end. So, yeah, gonna wrap this video up at this point. Thank you all so much for watching. I very much appreciate it. It makes me feel good when people are liking and commenting the video. So continue to do that. Share this video. Get it out there. If you're new here, please subscribe. Check out my past videos. And yeah, there should be more content coming pretty soon. I am starting to get back on that roll of getting this done. So more is coming pretty soon. So keep an eye out. Thank you once again for watching, and happy railroading.